Our regular KGW program schedule to bring you this weather advisory. The Weather Bureau is forecasting southerly winds of 20 to 40 miles an hour today, gusting to 60 miles per hour by late this afternoon or early evening.
But it was such a strange sky, and I called the other girls in the office to come and see it, and they said they'd never seen anything like that. So we just stood there and watched it. We went outside. The wind was blowing quite hard, but a lot of times wind blows in Portland. Didn't think anything about it, and then walked a few blocks, and all of a sudden the wind caught me and blew me right into a parked car.
This was a map that the forecasters did on the morning of October 12th, 1962 at 5 o'clock in the morning. This was kind of their main tool they used back then. There was no satellite imagery at that point in time, so it was a few observations out at sea, a lot of them ship reports, merchant ships, Navy ships, things of that nature to get an idea of what was going on.
Isobars are lines of constant pressure, and where lines of constant pressure, isobars are very close together, it's just like you're reading a contour map. You know, the closer the contour lines are together, the steeper the slope is. The closer the isobars are together, the faster the wind's blowing.
You know by now that strong winds have hit the Portland area. We've recorded gusts up to 85 miles per hour, and then there's another one over 80.
I continued on up to my car at the parking lot. I started out and kept driving, and I got to an intersection. The wires were all down, and they were just going back and forth like this. So I watched the rhythm, and when they got way up on one side, I just went through the middle, just shot through the middle.
50 years ago we had, basically weather service, airports were reporting weather. Now, in addition to that, we have a lot of other what we call meso networks. So there's a lot more information about what's going on currently, and not just over land, but also over sea. You got satellite imagery, which isn't just pictures of the clouds, which is what normally as a forecaster I'm most interested in, but you can also look at water vapor pictures, which shows not necessarily clouds, but the flow in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Observational data between 1962 and now is totally different.
Now we've just been informed that KGW-TV Channel 8's tower has gone down. That report from Andy Jordan just moments ago that the TV tower at Channel 8 has fallen.
They relied upon information coming in via teletype. So it was all kind of coming at a prescribed time, and they saw a few reports coming in out of Northern California, and then it was expecting reports coming out of Oregon, but all of a sudden the reports just stopped coming in. And then he started putting two and two together, and he goes, oh, it's power outages. It's strong enough to generate power outages.
When the low pressure centers moves north, and you have that very strong pressure gradient to the south, then as the low is moving north, the pressure ahead of it is falling, and then the pressure back here is rising. So you get a very strong change in pressure over a very short distance. Very strong winds are the result.
Well, there goes our gauge. There goes our gauge, dropped back to zero. We don't know what happened. There's wreckage coming off the roof up there. Perhaps some of that wreckage hit the gauge, or perhaps the bearings just burned out. But there was a 93-mile-an-hour gust, and then finally the wind gauge went.
Got to the Ross Island Bridge. The wind was terrible by then. It was very scary, and a truck tipped up on the side of the bridge right beside me. And then when I was getting towards the east end of the bridge, the wind really was at its worst. The car kept going up, back into the car kept going up and down, and the car in front of me was doing the same thing. I had nightmares for quite a long time afterward. Every time the wind blew hard, and every time it blew just a little harder than kind of normal, I'd have nightmares. It was quite an experience.